Canadian Eagle presents The Origins of Language, the Wake Up Movement. The oldest known dictionaries were Akkadian Empire cuneiform tablets with bilingual Sumerian Akkadian word lists discovered in Ebla, modern Syria, and dated roughly 2300 BCE. The early 2nd millennium BCE Ura-Hubla glossary is a canonical Babylonian version of such bilingual Sumerian word list. I think this is a good point of origin to start off.
Trees, mother, wind, snake. Have you ever wondered how long common words like these have been around? Let's start with the oldest written word. Scholars disagree about what even counts as writing. Do glyphs, those little pictograms that make up hieroglyphics, count? Or is it only writing when there are symbols that represent sounds, aka letters? The general consensus is that Sumerian was the first written language. It developed in Mesopotamia around 3500 BCE. The earliest form was Sumerian cuneiform, made up of wedge-shaped glyphs. And the earliest words were probably symbols for God, earth, man, or woman. Now what about the oldest spoken word? Researchers at the University of Reading studied cognates across language groups and came up with a list of 23 ultra-conserved words that appeared in most of the groups. The researchers believe these words are nearly 15,000 years old, surviving since the last ice age. Some of the words include I, we, this, mother, fire, to hear, and worm. You know, just the important stuff.
The story of writing, astronomy, and law. The story of civilization itself begins in one place. Not Egypt, not Greece, not Rome, but Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia is an exceedingly fertile plain situated between the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers. For 5 millennia, this small strip of land situated in what is today Iraq, Kuwait, and Syria fostered innovations that would change the world forever. Inhabited for nearly 12,000 years, Mesopotamia's stable climate, rich soil, and steady supply of fresh water made it ideal for agriculture to develop and thrive. About 6,000 years ago, seemingly overnight, some of these agricultural settlements blossomed into some of the world's first cities. In the period between 4000 and 3100 BC, Mesopotamia was dotted with a constellation of competing city-states. At one point, they were unified under the Akkadian Empire and then broke apart, forming the empires of Assyria and Babylon. Despite near constant warfare, innovation and development thrived in ancient Mesopotamia. They built on a monumental scale, from palaces to ziggurats. Mammoth temples served as ritual locations to commune with the gods. They also developed advanced mathematics, including a base 60 system that created a 60-second minute, a 60-minute hour, and a 360-degree circular angle. The Babylonians used their sophisticated system of mathematics to map and study the sky. They divided one Earth year into 12 periods. Each was named after the most prominent constellations in the heavens, a tradition later adopted by the Greeks to create the zodiac. They also divided the week into 7 days, naming each after their 7 gods embodied by the 7 observable planets in the sky. But perhaps the most impactful innovation to come out of Mesopotamia is literacy. What began as simple pictures scrawled onto wet clay to keep track of goods and wealth developed into a sophisticated writing system by the year 3200 BC. This writing system would come to be called cuneiform in modern times and proved so flexible that, over the span of 3,000 years, it would be adapted for over a dozen different major languages and countless uses, including recording the law of the Babylonian king Hammurabi, which formed the basis of a standardized justice system. But Mesopotamia's success became its undoing. Babylon, in particular, proved too rich a state to resist outside envy. In 539 BC, the Persian king Cyrus conquered Babylon and sealed his control over the entirety of Mesopotamia. For centuries, this area became a territory of foreign empires. Eventually, Mesopotamia would fade, like its kings, into the mist of history, and its cities would sink beneath the sands of Iraq. But its ideas would prevail in literacy, law, math, astronomy, and the gift of civilization itself.
So now our journey begins. We take you back to the Akkadian Empire, where the Sumerian language began and civilization in the cradle of life. Canadian Eagle, signing out.